In freezing weather, the ultimate in frost protection and accessibility for outdoor meter sets is the Mueller-Hunt Therma-Coil meter pit. Most water utilities prefer to install meters at the property line. Having the meter at the property line provides direct access to the meter for reading or maintenance. If it's in the basement, the homeowner may not be home for access or meter changeout when the service person calls. But outside, the meter is subject to freezing weather. To facilitate access, some meter pit manufacturers either put the meter above the frost line, where frost jump can occur, or below the frost line in an effort to avoid freezing, which makes it difficult to access the meter. Neither installation is really acceptable. Another commonly used option, the concrete pit, is usually effective in preventing freezing, but it's difficult and costly to install. Also, entering the pit to access the meter involves the extra expense of complying with OSHA confined space safeguards.
Well, the concrete vault, you had a copper setter down there with some kind of a plastic to hold it up, like a half-inch plastic, and you had to go down in there and work on it, and it was avoid the rodents or the spiders, and it usually was dark and damp down there. And, we can bid much cheaper when we are using a Therma-Coil type box, and it doesn't take very long to install them. And if you were using a concrete or other types, it would take 3 or 4 times as long to install, and with the coil you can get the right height, and it just eliminates a lot of cost for us in the installation of them.
The solution is the Mueller-Hunt Therma-Coil meter pit. Since the early 1980s, it has proven itself in thousands of installations. The Therma-Coil pit puts the meter below the frost line, where the temperature stays above freezing at a nearly constant 55 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. And the meter can be easily raised to the surface for reading or maintenance. Heat from the soil beneath the pit rises and cools as it circulates around the interior, warming the meter and piping. It then sinks to the bottom of the box, where it is rewarmed by the earth. In this way, the atmosphere around the meter is kept at a temperature where freezing cannot occur.
We started out with about 900 connections, and currently we have 1,800 connections. And the original 900 were all concrete pits by the original specification. We slowly started changing the system out and adding meter pits or coiled pits to the system. And we have almost half of them now with the coiled pit. And we have yet to have our first meter pit freeze.
With the Mueller meter pit, it's easy to raise the meter to the surface. Reading the meter or performing maintenance with the Therma-Coil pit is very simple. All Mueller pits are delivered fully assembled and tested per AWWA standards. This saves time, since you do not have to inventory individual parts, and leaks are virtually eliminated. The pit's lighter weight saves shipping costs, and in most cases, makes installation a one-person job.
The box benefits me because it's easy to get into. Periodically, when the operations technician is not here, and we need to shut someone's water off or turn somebody's water on, then I get that job to do it. And so it's very easy to access, very easy to lift up the meter that's on the coil and to do what I need to do. And that is one of the things I thoroughly enjoy.
The best meter environment is in a Mueller Therma-Coil pit. Superior construction features include the rigid 0.30 of an inch PVC shell. It has proven its strength and performance, retains its shape during backfill, and withstands light traffic loads. The PVC shell gives better resistance to frost bridging than the thinner material used in most other PVC boxes. and its white color aids interior visibility. A ring provides a rest for the meter platform and acts as reinforcement to help further resist ovalizing. Supports near the top provide a rest for the platform at ground level and add to overall box rigidity. The platform's solidly mounted inlet valve and meter outlet ensure exact meter spacing and alignment, making meter installation or changeouts easy. Large diameter polybutylene coiled tubing connects the meter to the service line. The tubing is permanently coiled. With the radius of the coil much more than 5 times the diameter of the tubing, its flow loss is equivalent to straight pipe. Tests have shown the flow loss of the Therma-Coil pit to be less than alternative setters of the same size and depth. Testing has also proven the connection between the PB tubing and brass fittings is so strong that the pipe will fail before it will pull out of the fittings. The connection uses a brass insert to support the pipe, assuring the integrity of the joint. The insert is short, and tests have shown it does not contribute to flow loss. The male iron pipe threads on inlet and outlet connections accept fittings needed to adapt the pit to the service. The inlet is also marked to eliminate any confusion about its location. Marine-grade aluminum rivets are used throughout for strength and long life.
We used the coil pit primarily because it was easy to service. It was lightweight. We could handle it by hand. It was also a one-piece pit that you could take that pit out, and when you got there, you didn't have to go looking for a bunch of other parts to go with it.
There are a number of options for the Mueller Therma-Coil meter pit. The closed cell insulating pad is available for cold climates, where there is an especially deep frost line. The pad is placed just above the meter, where it traps the warm air and assures that the meter and piping remain warm enough to prevent freezing. The optional aluminum bottom encloses the bottom of the pit to keep out debris and vermin. It is permanently attached, but not watertight, to allow drainage. Cast iron lids in locking and non-locking styles are available, with or without meter reading lid and optional hole for installing a touchpad. Grade rings in 2-inch increments are available for field adjustments.
When the coil pit came on the market, I was the predominant doubting Thomas. It looked like somebody was coming up with an idea to fill a niche of a better mousetrap that I wasn't sure was the type of thing that we needed in this part of the country, this far north. And I was absolutely dead wrong about that. The people who work underneath me enjoy the pit. They want that installed predominantly over any other setting. We have had no installation problems with it in terms of freezing conditions that have resulted from it. It's economical to install over any of the other products. And we basically, new products and new pits that we install are all virtually exclusively the Mueller coil pit.
Experience has shown that these suggestions will give you the best installation results. Use good construction practices and observe design engineer instructions. Order the pit the same depth as services are normally installed. Bury the pit so the top edge is at ground level. Provide a bed of crushed gravel approximately 6 inches thick. Or place bricks or cement blocks below the pit to allow for drainage and provide support. Place the pit in the excavation with the top at grade level and connect the inlet piping. Hand tighten the fitting to the pit. Then turn 2 full turns with a wrench. This will result in a leak-tight connection without placing undue stress on the pit piping. We recommend installing approximately 10 feet of pipe to the outlet so that the plumber completing the service installation does not have to disturb the connection to the pit and possibly over-tighten the connection or otherwise affect the contractor's proper installation of the pit itself. Backfill approximately 12 inches at a time and tamp each layer until the surface grade is restored. It is not good practice to dump fill on top of the pit and use a vehicle to tamp the fill into place. This could stress the service line and cause leakage or breakage. There are many cost and labor-saving advantages the Mueller Therma-Coil pit offers when compared to inside settings and to other meter pits available, including the concrete pit. With the Mueller Therma-Coil pit, the meter is below the frost line at a year-round, nearly constant 55 degrees Fahrenheit, and the meter can be easily raised to the surface for reading or maintenance. When the weather outside is not so delightful, you can rest assured that your meter is warm and properly tracking revenues in the Mueller Hunt Therma-Coil meter pit.
Anytime we can change out the concrete pits and go to coil pits, the staff that work for me are much happier. They're happy, then I'm happier.
It's simple. He can bring it up to the top of the ground, and it's just revolutionized everything as far as the old type box we used to have.
If somebody asked me about the coil pit, whether to use it, I would certainly recommend it very highly, but I would also go tell them several water districts that use it that they could talk to that I'm sure would give them a very high recommendation for the pit.
I'm very happy with the McCullough meter pit. I think that they have done an excellent job, and I would encourage anybody and everybody, before they ever looked at purchasing meter pits, to make sure that they don't pass this one up.